I'm going to teach you what I know about counseling, coaching, and consulting, and then I'll lead you through a session. Obviously, both counseling and coaching are good options for satisfying a passion to help other people. But let's look at the differences in the cost and quality of education that's required for both the counseling and the coaching professions. In America, each state has their own laws regarding counseling, but all of them require at least a master's degree in marriage and family licensing, social work, or psychology. So there's a 4 or 5 year commitment to get the bachelor's degree, and then another 2 to 3 years to get the master's. Now, the academic training that's required to become a counselor focuses specifically on psychology and the diagnosable mental disorders of a book called the DSM. Licensed clinical counselors and therapists are trained to diagnose and then treat those disorders, and they're able to receive reimbursements from their patients' health insurance companies as long as they can identify which disorder that patient suffers from. So if you're drawn to work in a mental health or psychiatric facility with patients that are developmentally disabled, or if you'd like to have your own private practice and to have the security of receiving insurance reimbursements, counseling might be a really good option worth exploring. Counselors can earn from $50,000 to $80,000, and psychologists with a PsyD or a PhD can earn up to, say, $150,000 a year. I was halfway through my master's degree before I realized that I was not going to be able to use my degree to work with a healthy clientele, which is what I really wanted to do. I also came to the realization that book learning was not the most effective tool for learning how to counsel other people. Here's why. A good counselor needs access to the right side of their brain. That's the creative, empathetic, and intuitive nature. They need to have a big heart. If you've ever met a doctor or a counselor with a cold and distant bedside manner, someone that's identified more with their thinking mind than with their heart, they hardly help a patient to feel safe enough to open up and bare their soul. So if you decide to go into counseling, choose your school wisely. You can figure you'll spend between $100,000 and $200,000 depending on your location and the schools that you choose. So look into the classes that are offered at each potential school and look at the textbooks that'll be used. You're going to be deeply immersed into that schoolwork for a number of years and then in that profession hopefully for the rest of your life. So you want to choose wisely. Now when it comes to coaching and consulting though, you have a lot more options. The biggest difference between counseling and coaching is that coaches serve a healthier clientele. And the difference between coaches and consultants is that consultants primarily work for businesses and organizations, while coaches work with individuals. If you're interested in becoming a life coach, your first order of business will be to look up whether there are life coach and consultant laws where you live. There's generally a lot more leniency in the laws governing coaching and counseling, and many places have no laws at all. As you most likely discovered if you've been online cruising, there are a lot of life coaching schools. And as you wade through them, I recommend that you not settle for one based simply on low tuition cost, but that you keep looking until you find one that makes you feel confident that you'll have a successful career after you graduate. Now that means that you want one that not only teaches you how to coach, but that teaches you how to start and run and market your practice. Many coaching consulting trainings are designed and run by men. And these schools commonly focus on goal setting, advice giving, efficiency techniques, and time management skills. If you ever watched that television show, The Biggest Loser, you know that certain types of coaching can be almost sadistic in pushing a client to meet their goals. Even Tony Robbins, who I greatly admire, has a just do it approach that doesn't actually address or handle fears that arise. And that's because most coaches were trained by men who don't have a background in psychology. But let's face it, women already have within their nature to nurture and to teach. With some basic counseling skills, women can be profoundly effective in helping other people to move beyond the fears and patterns that keep them stuck. For example, when a single mother counsels another single mother, A more profound sense of trust and rapport can occur than might happen in the presence of a professional with degrees if that professional only studied about the issues about being a single mother, but had not actually ever lived through the experience. So before I lead you through your session, let me finish with this. Coaching and consultant certifications can certainly enhance your resume and earning power, but they can't help you to get an actual job. A good training can, however, be life-transforming because you'll learn how to coach yourself. But if your career objective is to get a job as a coach, you might want to think again. Businesses that hire counselors generally hire industrial psychologists because their insurance will cover the costs. So life coach certifications are primarily geared toward people with an entrepreneurial spirit. Now, business consultants can charge anywhere from $100 to $400 an hour, depending on their business expertise, while coaches charge according to who their clientele is going to be. So if you're coaching single mothers with low incomes, you might charge $50 to $75 a session, depending on where you live. But if you're coaching successful women who have more money than time, you might create, say, monthly packages that run from $400 to $1,000 a month. I have graduates who work just 10 hours a week that bring in an extra $3,000 a month, and others who earn $100,000 a year. So if you've never had your own business and you plan on going into private practice either as a counselor, a coach, or a consultant, be sure to find a training that teaches you how to start and run your practice. This is a huge drawback to academic training and even massage schools. People graduate with wonderful skills, but they have no clue how to start or run their business. So many end up finding yet another mundane job just because they didn't get the training they needed to be successful.